Hello. So I thought I'd make a few videos showing you how to build up a dubstep tune, like from making the kicks, the snares, the hat patterns, right through to bass resampling and sound design. And this is my first on kicks, so I hope you can pick up a few good pointers. So let's start off with some drum racks. We're going to need 3: kick, snare, hats, and we're going to group them together. A lot of people use buses that kind of add effects to a whole section of instruments, but I like to use groups because it keeps it neater, and you just do exactly the same thing as buses. So we'll call that drums. And I always have my drums red. Good. I've got a few kick samples which I'll add in here. Both nice and bouncy. The second one is a lot more powerful. It's got some good transients at the beginning because I like my kicks to be sort of short, sharp and powerful. So good transients are a must. I'm going to increase the volume to -6 decibel each and add a spectrum analyzer. Good. Next thing I'm going to do, create a 4/4 kick pattern, just so you kind of regularly hear the drum sound as you're tweaking it. And hit play. Cool. Right, solo this out and bring the spectrum up. So we can see this is hitting just below 100 Hz there, about 92 or something like that. So I'm going to add in an EQ. Actually, first thing I'm going to do, because there's a lot of content down here which we don't really want, so I'm going to add an auto filter to right at the end of the signal chain, just for the spectrum so we can see this effect. And I'm going to high pass both kicks together around 80 Hz, because then anything below 80 Hz will be slowly tailed off, which means it won't be interfering with the kick when we add, with the sub when we add the sub later on. Okay, EQ. So 90 Hz is the sort of fundamental frequency that I want to accent. So I'm gonna make a little boost there and bring it up to about where it's hitting. Actually, yeah, it's hitting pretty nicely there, 84 Hz, so I'm going to accent that a bit. This is actually a kick I made myself, so it's quite sort of level across the spectrum, but it's got a nice, sounds like it's got a nice click there, yeah, around 2.5 kHz. So I'm just going to accent that a bit and bring down sort of the meaty 500 Hz area. And I'm also going to put in a cut at 200 Hz, which is where our snare is going to be hitting through. So I'll notch that out. That actually sounds quite nice and meaty already, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Next kick. So we've got the low pass, which is taking off sort of a lot of this area. So dropping down there. It's got a lot of content around 50 Hz, just down there, but that's a bit kind of too low for me. So it's got a nice stiff punch up here, so I'm going to give that a bit of an accent. Yeah, about there. Like the other one, I'm going to take down around 500 Hz just to get rid of a bit of the meat, because I'm going to have some sort of really hard hitting bass there later on. I don't want it to interfere too much. Oh, I forgot as well, I always take a channel down to around -10 decibel when I start working on it, just because, well, if you think of like production as a box, and everything you put in the box is sort of filling up the space you've got. So if you take down the volume of certain elements, then you can fit more things in the box before it starts overflowing. Do I need that? Yeah. There's some gaps here where there isn't really much frequency content. Like for example, 593 Hertz. Wait, if we look here. There we go, 586. So I'm going to make a cut at 586. For that, we do not need. And up around here as well, 782. I mean, if it's just, you know, if it's quiet like that, then it's not really adding much to the kick, so I like to get it out so there's a lot more room for other things. That's sounding pretty good. Just quickly balance the levels. You'll see me A-Bing a lot where I kind of take something out or take like a EQ band out to see how much it changes the sound. So in case you're wondering what I'm doing. Right, that's sounding pretty nice. So next thing I'm going to do is use these return channels down here to add some parallel compression to the sound. So I'll take the compressor down to about -30 on the threshold and a ratio of about 3. And it's important to kind of dial in a little bit of attack so you get some nice uncompressed punchy sound right at the start. That should do it. And this is where you dial in the compression. I kind of increase it slowly until I can hear sort of the catch point, and then normally pop it on a little bit further just for a bit of an extra compressed sound. So it's starting to catch there. I'm just going to go a little bit further so it's a bit louder. That sounds good. And same thing with this. Kicking in. So both around -12 decibel. I'm also going to add, there's this free, where is it? Epic free VSTs. There's this free VST called Ferric TDS, which is a saturation plugin. Actually, just go all the way, seeing as it's parallel. It's really subtle, but it adds a very nice kind of like meaty, well, saturation to the sound. So I'm just going to add that in. And last but never least is Camel Crusher. Oops. Take down the compression, take down the tube a little bit, and give it a bit of mech. Whatever the hell that means. Right, I'm just going to A-B with the effects on and off. Right, that's sounding good. Take the volume down a little bit more. Right. So that's the kind of individual sounds done and glued together. No, they're not glued together. So I'm going to add a compressor just with a little bit of a threshold, take down the ratio a bit, and a bit of an attack, just so the kind of the two sounds just get merged a bit more. Take down the output so it's not clipping. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get rid of that. It seems to be playing a bit of havoc. What to do now? I'm going to add the EQ to the whole of the kick channel, just so I can shape the sound a bit more. I'm going to give it a bit more upper content because it seems to be a bit waney here. Yeah, that sounds good. Down a little bit here. Maybe kick it up a notch around 100 Hz. Just for that sort of chest slam. Right, I think that sounds pretty good. And last and definitely not least, this is a really nice compressor by PSP called Micro Compressor. What I'm going to use this for is, well, firstly to mono the signal, because you don't want your kick to be stereo, obviously. And next, take the threshold all the way up, the ratio up pretty high. And what I'm going to do is let enough of the kick through so it's got that punch, but then it just like cuts the signal right at the end, so it doesn't interfere with any other elements in the tune. So I'm going to play it and then increase the attack until I've got enough attack kick on punch on the kick. About there, sounds good. And A-B it. Add a bit more of attack. No, I'll just take the threshold down a bit more. Right. Meaty. So now we've got a nice punchy kick that's going to cut through a mix of sort of big basses. We're going to move on to the snare next, so subscribe to my channel if you want to keep updated. Cheers!